Married at First Sight, Mzansi is on its 9th episode and things are hectic at the apartment. The couples are having serious conversations with one another and I love to see it. So in this episode, I want to react to a couple of scenes where dramatic things took place. The first thing that the first thing that I want to react to is between Tammy and Zitobile, where they were discussing very important things such as having kids and how Zitobile reacted around Tammy's child, so on and so forth. The next thing I want to react to is when the couples came together to finish that game that they had started at the couples retreat a couple of episodes ago. It got hectic, it got tense. First of all, Tammy and Zitobile, they were in their apartment just having normal conversations. And number one, it came up that Tammy would like to have more children. Zitobile reveals that she actually has PCOS. Now, PCOS is a condition that affects a lot of women and it affects their fertility. It just makes it really difficult for the lady to conceive a child when she has PCOS. Zitobile had a very vulnerable conversation where she revealed that it really bothers her and troubles her that her fertility is being affected by her PCOS because she definitely wants to have children. She knows that she wants to be a mother. She also said something that I love, that she knows she does not want to be a single mother, okay? Because that's another problem in this society that we live in. Men treat parenthood as if it's a part-time job, you know. Now back to their discussion in their apartment, the issue of Zitobile's weight and body came up. We all know that Zitobile is a big girl. It seems like behind the scenes there has been a discussion around Zitobile losing weight, and you know that came up. And Zitobile was complaining that Tammy is no longer buying her flowers, no longer getting her chocolate, but someone was like, you need to cut down on that chocolate, girl, because your diet and so on and so forth. Zitobile did not appreciate that. Tammy is very abrupt and Zitobile is very sensitive. So with the two of them, they need to really check on that. Somebody needs to soften and somebody needs to grow a little bit of a thicker skin, you know. But yeah, it's only been 6-7 weeks. These people just met. It will take a little bit longer for them to get to know each other and understand each other. But I do like that it seems like they are giving it their best shot. Now, the last thing that these two were discussing, and the discussion got very heated. So in the previous episode, we met Tammy's daughter. It was Tammy's birthday. And it seems like the child did not leave that same night or didn't leave immediately. And the child stayed around for a bit. I'm not sure how long. I'm not sure if the child stayed around 1 more day, 2 more days. It's not clear. But apparently at some point, Zitobile did ask Tammy, when are you taking your child back? Wherever back is. And Tammy did not respond. And I think they were all hanging out with Tammy's friends as well. And Zitobile felt a little bit ignored, felt like she was not included in the conversations, I guess. The daughter was there, Tammy's daughter was there watching TV. And Zitobile just apparently took her things and went to sit in the veranda, in the patio, and left everybody in the house. It seems like Tammy felt some type of way. Tammy might have felt that Zitobile did not want to be in the same room with his child. Zitobile did not want to, you know, entertain and spend some time with the child and bond with the child. And Zitobile is like, no, this is about me and you. I felt like I was not seen. I felt like I was not being given attention at that time. And I felt like if I walk away, then you're going to see me as I walk away. And apparently that is what happened, and so on and so forth. So they had a very long discussion about that. My take on the Tammy daughter Zitobile reaction is, and Zitobile has expressed, you know, the fact that a previous relationship has ended because her ex had a child. So Tammy needs to tread carefully. Tammy cannot just thrust the child upon Zitobile. This whole thing has to be gradual, you know. Zitobile and the child need to be around each other for smaller periods of time, and then over time they can just spend more and more and more time with each other, for both of them to adjust to one another, to get to know one another, for the child to be spending multiple days with them off the jump. It might have been overwhelming for Zitobile. That's my thoughts on the matter. I may be right, I may be wrong. I don't know. What's your thought? Let me know in the comment section below. Let me now move on to games night. Oh, child. So the couples come together, like I said, and they resume games night. Makuma puts her hand up because she got something to say. She's like, you know what? She feels that a lot of these questions are very tacky. A lot of these questions were just a little bit uncomfortable. And in the last games night, she felt like she and her partner were attacked a little bit by these questions, and she does not appreciate that. And if she's uncomfortable, she might not want to answer these questions. And I must say that I concur, I concur, especially when it comes to the questions that they direct towards Tammy. The questions that they ask Tammy men are a little bit emasculating. Okay, somebody here or some individuals here are not respecting Tammy's masculinity. And I, as a Tammy fan, I'm a Tammy fan. Okay, I'm picking that up and I'm speaking up for Tammy. People gotta respect Tammy. Okay, he might come across as a little bit of a feminine man, and that's okay. We all have a feminine and masculinity, and in some men, a very few, in some men, the femininity just comes up more. Y'all need to respect Tammy. An example is in the previous episode where they play this game, somebody asked if Tammy's bisexual. His wife is right there. Come on, what the hell? He handled that very well. And now in this episode, somebody asked if somebody was to come through and threaten Zitobile, would Tammy be able to protect her? Now tell me that question is not disrespectful. Tell me that question is not emasculating. Somebody here doesn't see Tammy, and as such, these questions are tacky and stupid, okay? But anyways, the game commences. Questions are being asked around. The two questions I want to focus on is firstly the question where they were asked if they regret coming to this competition, and Makuma was the first one to respond, and she's like, yes, she regrets coming to this competition, even though she does not regret meeting everybody on the show. She does not regret meeting Tabang. What she regrets is the fact that she now finds this show to be very invasive. It's in her space. Everybody's just in her face. And also she feels that it does not accommodate her very strict work schedule. Makuma's work is very, very demanding. Many, many times we have seen Tabang filming alone because Makuma is at work and times are just not syncing together for Makuma to be there during that shoot. And she was expressing how she feels like the show is not accommodating her. And Lokuzan Boitaba had to put her hand up, and she's like, no. She takes offense to what Makuma is saying because the show is doing its best to accommodate Makuma's schedule. Boitaba even made an example of the fact that her wedding was even moved by a day to accommodate Makumo. Her family had already flown to the wedding location, but they all had to wait. Oh honey, Makumo was like, you know what, you are entitled to feel how you feel, but I'm just saying from my point of view, this is how I feel about things. This is how girl, one thing about Makuma, she will speak up for herself. Makuma will speak her mind, but I love that Boitsepo also speaks her mind. Even though the way they communicate their points across is vastly different, Makuma comes across as very brash and aggressive and in your face. And Boitsepo is just so mature and ladylike about the whole thing. One thing about Boitsepo, she got poise. That lady got poise for days. So it was just interesting to see the two of them interact with each other. Now, let me move on to the next question that I want to talk about. Makuma said these questions are tacky, and I agree. Somebody asked a question to Khutso saying that, who among the wives would you like to have a threesome with? When that question was posed, I remember Makuma was saying, oh, don't answer that, don't answer that. But you know what? Kuma, what's this guy's name? Khutso decided he's an honest man and he speaks his mind and he will answer. And he was like, yeah, Boitsepo. Everybody was like, ooh. And his lady, Dee Ditwanela, was like, oh, and why is it Boitsepo that you would like to have a threesome with? Explain yourself. And honestly, I would prefer that Khutso did not answer the question. Okay, that's just me. Yeah, I would prefer him just say, you know what kind of a question is this? This is a silly question. I'm not going to answer that question. I'm happy with what me and Dee got going on in the bedroom, just the two of us. You know, there was a way to get out of that question, especially with his temperament, you know. Khutso is the type of guy that gives you a one sentence answer and is done with you. So he really could have gotten himself out of this out of answering this question, but he chose to answer it, and Dee was not happy. Dee was like, why would you choose Boitsepo? And he elaborated, and I like this response. It's like, you know what, Boitsepo is fit. She also goes to gym. We all know that Khutso goes to gym. And he said further that she matches aesthetically what he was attracted to prior, but then he did add that if anybody was to ask him if he would go for Boitsepo right now, he would say no. It's worth noting also that when Khutso said Boitsepo was quick to say, no, I don't want you. And Boitsepo's partner, Usebenzile, made a joke along the lines of, dude, should we meet outside? Do you want to take it outside, you know? Everybody was taking it in good nature, you know, making a joke out of it. But I could tell that Dee is a little bit bothered. The next question did not help the situation, honey, because the next question was addressed to Boitsepo, asking Boitsepo, you know, there's this game of who would you kill, boink, or marry? That was the question posed to Boitsepo, and Boitsepo too answered honestly, and Mogel was like, I would kill Tammy. Y'all need to respect Tammy, okay? Anyway, she's like, she would kill Tammy, boink, and marry Khutso. Tabang wasn't even mentioned. And oh, the room was in an uproar. Everybody was like, oh, the two of you want each other. The two of you want each other. Dee was in her feelings, okay? Everybody in the room was like, these two want each other. These two want each other. But Dee was taking it further along the lines of, now she was addressing Sebenzile, Boitsepo's partner. Saying, you see, these two want each other. You and I are in trouble. On the final day where we got to decide whether we stay together or not, these two might just choose each other and whatnot. She was giggling while she was saying that. It is possible that she was joking while she was saying it, or it is possible that she was in her feelings and she was using humor to cover the situation. I am inclined to believe that it's the second option. Okay, while this whole thing was going on, Sebenzile was chilled. Sebenzile was like, that's not gonna happen. As in, he's not in trouble. He knows for a fact that Boitsepo is not gonna leave him for Khutso. But you know, Dee just kept on explaining and elaborating to the point that Khutso, her partner, was like, no, the problem is that Dee doesn't trust our relationship. And Dee was like, oh my God, dude, you're throwing me under the bus again. And now the two of them as a couple were having this back and forth in terms of like, why do I keep finding out these things when we are in company of other people? They had a back and forth. Sort of like arguing between the two of them. At that point, I feel like Zitobile could hear everything going on with the two of them, but she was trying to focus on what, you know, the rest of the group was doing, because the rest of the group had moved on. Honey, it was tense. It was too much, you know. It reached a point actually where Ditwanela got up and was like to production, I guess, that she can't do this, and she walked out. And she walked out, and that was the end of the episode. Now, my thoughts and my take on this entire thing, this game, that they are playing. Once again, I agree with Makumo. The game is tacky. A lot of the questions are uncalled for. A lot of people had submitted questions that are just way too shady, way too instigatory, looking for problems, looking for trouble. And I felt like production should have sifted these questions and chose like, no, this is gonna cause drama between the couples, this is gonna cause drama between the couples. If all these couples had been together for say 2 years, then all of these questions I'll say are go. There's nothing out of bounds, there's nothing off limit. But considering that they've only been together, only been knowing each other for like 6-7 weeks, these questions, some of them are too much. So in terms of Dee and how she felt, I understand where she's coming from. This whole thing is new. They're trying to get to know each other, and she knows that body type wise, aesthetically, physically, she is not Khutso's type. And for this question to be posed to Khutso, who would you want to have a threesome with, and knowing that it is Uboitsepo who is more Khutso's type physically, I would also be bothered. I'm sorry, maybe both me and Ditwanelo are insecure, and if that's it, then it is what it is. Two insecure girlies, So yes, and also other underlying problems between Khutso and Dee in terms of their communication. Both of them have certain insecurities, So yeah, it's very tricky and it's very interesting, but there's mess somewhere. There's mess. I don't know if it's from the side of the other cast members or if it's from the side of production. Another thing worth mentioning is that the couples have been given their eviction notices that they are leaving their apartments. I guess they are going back to their normal lives. If I remember properly from watching the international installments of this franchise, they're gonna choose whose house they live in and see how they adjust to life outside the controlled environment of the apartments. I think that's what's gonna happen. But I wonder how much of that we're gonna see. How many episodes is this thing? Already we're on episode 9. If it's 13th episodes, then damn, it's gonna be rushed and squashed. I might just not be satisfied. But anyways, that is all I have to say on this episode 9. What's your take on that entire game? What's your take on Titsanella's reaction? Yeah, if you've made it this far, as usual, please bless me by subscribing. Thank you. Bye.